Primary importance, which is to be given secondary importance and all that. Most of the times when they are put in comparison with other students who in fact are better equipped academically, they may not be in a position to keep themselves on par with other more brilliant students, and that may result in developing a sort of inferiority complex in them. If they are already good in academics, they may also develop a sort of superiority, which may ultimately result in developing that ego consciousness, which will definitely harm their progress in later days to come. So, in the infancy, children need to be protected from all these hazards. So, parentage, in fact, requires the parents to keep a close watch on how the children are growing in their infancy, because there is a saying in Canada that the health and the way the tree is going to be in future will be revealed out in the sapling stage itself, even when it is sprouting, when it is just a tender plant. There itself it will show all the characteristics of what sort of a tree that it is going to become. So applying this to the growth of a young boy or a young girl, parents will have to keep a constant watch on them and try to know as to how they are growing, what sort of tendencies that they are developing in them. In fact, during the infancy, during the childhood days, it is very much required on the part of the parents to impart to them the right culture, the ethical commitment. Academic part is very well taken care of in the school itself by the teaching staff, but the teaching staff that is expected to perform all the duties sometimes may run short of time, and they may not be in a position to give the ethical input that the students require to adopt in them. So the ethical input will have to be supplied mostly by the parents only. This has been understood by so many great parents, but this is something that is to be understood by so many other parents too, even now. In fact, when we go through the life of Abraham Lincoln, we come across a situation wherein Lincoln has written a letter to the headmaster of the school in which his son was studying. Lincoln makes a beautiful observation there, which is really worth a mention here. The course of the letter runs like this. Lincoln says, while addressing to the headmaster of the school, "Sir, please give every training that will go a long way in making my son a successful man in life. I want my son to be a successful man. I expect you to help him achieve that. But at the same time, also tell him that failure is more honorable than success through uneven means." If we look at the corporate scenario, if we look at the industrial world, if we look at the political world, if we look at various other worlds, including even the literary world and the world of science, we see people very much lacking in the ethical standards. Whatever may be the academic achievements that we may boast of, we may be having at our disposal, whatever may be the other achievements that man has for him today by virtue of his hard work and all that, if all these achievements will not ultimately promote the welfare of man in toto, then the achievement definitely, I have my own doubt whether to call this as an achievement at all. We may have developed so much of progress, we may have achieved so much of development, this thing, that thing, and everything in all fields, but ultimately how at all it is going to help a man in order to better his conditions. So if you look at the intersocial strife, inter-religious strife, and political narrowness among the powers that be, on various occasions, on many occasions, we see that somewhere that ethical card is very much missing. The ethical standard is very much missing. Man has lost an idea about ultimately what is going to be achieved, what we should keep as our aim, what must be our ultimate aim, where should we end up. That is somehow missing. Everyone must basically understand that it is the evolution, it is the growth of man in all possible ways that must be the ultimate aim of each and every endeavor that today we are involved in. And this evolution will never be there unless the ethical parameters are given the importance that they deserve. So, parentage basically and more importantly moves around the necessity of putting into the children that ingredient in the form of the ethical commitment and all that, the culture, Culture must come from parents. If you look at the life of Mahatma Gandhi, Gandhi received all his training from his mother, and Vivekananda received all his training from his mother. If you look into various characters in Mahabharata, there also we come across instances where parentage has played, especially mother has played, a very vital role in molding the character of her children. In fact, when Gandhari complained to Krishna that Krishna in fact cursed her with all these bad-tempered children, whereas he blessed Kunti with good-tempered children, Krishna says, it is not because of me that you have got that sort of children. It is not because of me that Kunti has got such great children. It is because of you only. You mothers have played. You married and came to Hastinapur, and you blindfolded yourself because you did not want to have that privilege which your husband did not have. You blindfolded yourself, and you became blind artificially. Your husband was blind by birth. There was no one to watch your children. The result was that the Kauravas grew up to be what they are today. Whereas in case of Kunti, she kept a constant watch on the manners, the movements, the character, the conduct of her children, and she became responsible for Pandavas to have become what they are today. So Gandhari, don't complain me that I have deprived you of what I should have given you, or I have made any special gift to Kunti. It is not so. You mothers, remember, you prepare, you create the destiny of your own children. You blindfolded yourself. When parents become blind, the children grow to be Kauravas. If parents are wide awake and watchful towards the movements of their children, the children will become Pandavas. That's how Krishna makes that point very much clear. I think this gives the gist of the whole of what we need to understand from the concept of what is the role of children towards their parents.